Hi everybody, in this video we talk about all the cool details about the Nintendo Switch 2 announcement. Now, we don't know the specific hardware specifications just yet, but we know quite a lot to talk about and things are looking very interesting. Alright, so let's jump straight to it. Let's talk size. First of all, this is an image posted on Nintendo.com. You can see that on the right side you can see the Switch 2 and on the left the Switch. Now overlaid in Photoshop to try to estimate what the dimensions will be. So what you see here are not the exact dimensions, just estimations, but this is kind of based on the original Switch size dimensions and just scaling it together, so based on the image, so you can see how it looks like. So there's a big difference in terms of size, both the screen and the entire handheld console itself. Now this can be very useful for people with larger hands, and also the Joy-Con controls have been refined and overall the console looks more rounded, so I think it also will lead to better ergonomic design, so better feeling when you hold it in your hands. I never found the Switch to be very comfortable to hold for a long period of time. Hopefully this will change with the Switch 2. Now let's talk more about the Joy-Cons first. So first of all, we've seen this image with the straps. Now the original Joy-Con also had a strap, but this one looks like it's more softer, more durable, and something because of how it's actually animated in the trailer led many to believe this can actually be used like a mouse. This is yet to be seen, but it might be the case. Nintendo kind of used to do some quirky things, and this might be one of them, and maybe we're going to see games that interact with the controller in this particular way. So you can see the extra voltage that designed actually to make it be able to slide rather than it sliding on some connector or something. It looks kind of some more rubbery, something that is more durable, that is designed for that purpose. Again, yet to be seen. So this is a side-by-side comparison. On the right, of course, the Switch 2, on the left, the original Switch, and you can see the difference. This is a big difference here. There's no rail anymore, so it attaches using a magnetic connector, apparently. And if you compare to the right side, you can see there's also a new button there, square button, that we don't know yet what it does. You can see that it's visible below the existing home button on the right Joy-Con, and its function remain unknown basically, but it could be introduced new gameplay mechanic or feature, or maybe a customization button, one that can do various functions. Some say it might be even touch sensitive, so you can use it kind of like a touchpad. We need to wait and see. It also seems that the black is going to be the base color for the Joy-Cons on the Nintendo Switch 2, with kind of reddish and bluish red color accent for each side of the controllers. It looks kind of more, I don't know, professional, sophisticated. I personally really like the touch. Some mentioned that the Switch 2 might use all-effect joysticks, which use magnetic sensor instead of the traditional potentiometers found in the original Switch Joy-Cons. And why it's actually significant is because these all-effect joysticks, if indeed used in the Switch 2, are less prone to wear and tear, which is a major cause of drift in the original Switch Joy-Cons. Now, some also suggest that each Joy-Con might have an IR sensor, although the specific applications for this feature are unclear. Actually, with the original Joy-Cons, that of the original Switch, but only for the right Joy-Con, add an IR sensor of its own. So this leads me to think maybe this is used as part of the mouse functionality in quotations, when it actually uses similar to an optical mouse. So it might be that part on the left side of the connector. This might be it, but again, we are not 100% sure. So overall, just for the Joy-Cons, it seems like it's going to be very nice upgrade overall in terms of ergonomic, features, durability, and more. Now, I'll talk more about other features, of course, in a moment, but I read that many people kind of disappointed when they see this. Maybe they expected something more significant, because eventually it's going to be, of course, the screen and the Joy-Cons, but I don't know what other people expected. This is not like the jump from something like Wii U to the Switch, for example, or something for other type of form factor or different design of the console. This is a Switch 2. This means it's going to be similar to the Switch, but with enhancements. And because again, most of this is again the screen, of course, and the Joy-Cons, I didn't expect some major changes. Most of the changes will come with, of course, the experiencing with the bigger screen, with the bigger size of the console when you hold it handheld, of course, with the performance, and of course, maybe some other functionality we don't know yet about. Aside from that, of course, from games that will be supported, that the result we should see in the actual gameplay itself. By that I mean the gameplay experience. Let's talk screen size now. So Basically what I did, I overlaid these in Photoshop, so I created basically kind of a shape over the original image and measure it and the relative size difference compared to the two, knowing that the original Switch had a 6.2 inches display. So I gave Gemini to do the calculations, and it actually, the result was 7.8 inches display. Not 8 as some suggested, but again, this is just based on my calculations and the way I actually did it with the overlay. Again, this is also taking into account that the images that they shown us with the two devices are actually the actual size. Now we are getting a larger display. Basically, some people talk about a resolution of Full HD. We don't have the information about it just yet, but this is going by itself going to lead to a much better gameplay experience when you can play on the large display. Based on what I've seen here, again, the bezel is slightly smaller, the black area is smaller, and the display itself is larger. Some mention it's going to be also an LCD display, not an OLED. Alright, let's talk about the dock. Also, we see a change. I wouldn't call it significant, but again, we don't know all the information just yet when it comes to connectors. But one thing is clearly seeing, of course, the logo of the new Nintendo Switch, and you can see that it has rounded corners, which I actually like the design overall. Also, based on what I've seen in the trailer, it might be significantly slimmer compared to the original one. So I'm basing this on this image, but maybe if there's some thicker part we can actually see from this image, from maybe another angle that we see that holds some of the electronics there, that thickening it a bit. Again, we can't tell a lot, but it looks like a different design and might be even slimmer. Now let's talk about the tabletop mode, right? You know, with the Switch you can play TV mode, handheld mode, and tabletop mode, where the Switch console is kind of popped up on its kickstand, allowing you to play on a tabletop or another flat surface, and then you can use the Joy-Con controllers attached to the sides or detached and held separately in order to play games. It's also great when you're playing with another player, so how it's actually changed on the Switch too. Well, overall it looks larger and more versatile. It has kind of U-shape, similar to the Switch OLED kickstand, but potentially more robust. It seems like also it has improved durability, so the design suggests a more durable and less prone to breakage compared to the original Switch flimsy kickstand. So first of all, the U-stand makes it easier to prop up the console on various surfaces and at different angles, basically enhancing the tabletop experience. And the low angle and also the flexibility shown in the trailer suggest it's going to be more durable and less prone to breakage. Well, of course, one of the main advantages of the Switch 2 is, well, the chipset. So from what we know, again, we don't know official information just yet, because again, this is just a teaser trailer. We're talking about the NVIDIA Tegra T239. Now, this is basically NVIDIA's continued partnership, because the original Nintendo Switch uses a custom NVIDIA Tegra chip. So it's logical to assume that Nintendo would continue this partnership with its next console. Now, this is supposed to be a custom-made one, but basically the T239 is rumored to be based on NVIDIA's Ampere architectures, which offers significant improvements in performance and efficiency compared to the Maxwell architecture used in the original Switch. Now, this could translate to several things. First of all, improved CPU performance, which rumors suggest 8-core ARM Cortex-A78AE CPU, which offers a considerably boost in processing power. Enhanced GPU performance. The Ampere-based GPU is expected to deliver a substantial increased graphics performance, potentially enabling features like even ray tracing and high resolution. Some people even mention maybe a form of DLSS to improve frame rates. So if it does have support for NVIDIA's deep learning super sampling DLSS technology, this can be very significant. Now, DLSS is uses AI to upscale low resolution images to higher resolution, basically improving performance with relatively low impact on visual quality, but that depends. I've played on DLSS, sometimes it leads to good quality, sometimes some artifacts involved, but with the latest DLSS 4, which I don't expect it to be supported here, it's significantly improved. Now, why it's great? Because basically it's actually crucial even for if you want to achieve high resolutions and frame rates on handheld consoles. Let alone if you want to support 4K, you want higher frame rates rather than sticking with 30 FPS. or even if it's possible at all. Now, I do expect you to have a customized one. I actually read something over the internet about, the original one actually used for AI with cars or something. So basically, if you want to reduce the price of the chip and maybe introduce some more things that are actually dedicated to gaming and maybe help improve performance, a customized version of this chipset is needed. So this is why I do expect it to be a customized design, designed specifically to amplify the performance and maybe reduce the cost of the chipset for the Nintendo Switch 2. So imagine playing a game that was designed, even an older game that was designed for 30 FPS, now we can actually play it at higher frame rates or maybe higher resolutions. So having technologies like DLSS, if it exists on the Switch 2, if it's supported, can really help kind of boosting frame rates. Both are, by the way, older games that supported 30 FPS and maybe higher games that you're going to play at higher resolution and you want to play them at higher frame rates. Or higher frame rates and higher resolutions. Now this is further amplified if you connect it to an external display, maybe 2K display, 4K display, who knows what we're going to see there, but this can help in boosting frame rates. Now let's talk battery life. We don't know the information just yet, but two things we do know. First of all, the Switch is larger, so it can actually host potentially a larger battery. Also, I'm not really into the field, but of course battery technologies have been improved, so we might see higher capacity batteries in a similar form factor. All right, and the other thing we need to take into account is processor efficiency. So as we discussed earlier, the rumor of NVIDIA Tegra T239 is expected to be based on a more power-efficient architecture, Ampere, compared to the original Switch, the Tegra chip, the Maxwell. Now, this could lead to improved battery life even with increased performance. Now, the other thing might be related, and of course this can do to other parts of the Switch itself regarding power consumption, but also the display technology. So I wonder if again, it's rumors to have an LCD, if it's actually designed to be better than the original one to consume less power. This might be indeed the case, so to further help improve battery life and gaming for longer gameplay sessions. Now, all this can lead to significantly longer play sessions. Some people throw like 7 to 10 hours, I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying that we should see significant improvement in terms of battery life, but again, that's yet to be seen. Hopefully for the better, because again, this is also a handheld console, so battery life is very important for so many users. We know this also from mobile phones, right? And this is also the case with the Nintendo Switch, where people don't want to stay connected, although there is a possibility to stay connected with an external cable connected to a power source, but people just want to enjoy without being connected to any external power source. Now, we got a USB connector. There's going to be 2 of them. It's already shown, by the way. I've seen it on GameRant with some screenshots from the trailer, which actually shown one at the top, USB-C, and another USB-C connector at the bottom. Now, the bottom one can be used to, of course, docking it and just charging it. But I actually wonder, is it going to be interchangeable? I'm not sure if you can just put it on either side and we just charge it. It doesn't matter which side you actually put it on. But probably I don't think so. Maybe the electronics are there. They're designed to actually support the charging are at the bottom. Again, not sure. But definitely we look at the top, being able to charge the console from the top rather than having a cable from the bottom. This is a significant change. Many players complain about that. Now, another thing is regarding using accessories. Basically, if you have 2 of them, you don't need to use an external accessory that just, turn it into a 2-port USB in order to use 2 accessories. So you don't need to use any third-party accessory and adapter, for example, in order to be able to use it. So these 2 are basically very good quality of life changes made to the Switch 2. Another thing, by the way, can be when you want to charge the console while playing with maybe a wired controller or using a LAN adapter for wired internet. With 2 connectors now, shouldn't be a problem. Also on IGN, I read that basically some third-party adapters for the original Switch with a single USB-C port could damage the console. With 2 standard USB ports, you can potentially avoid the risk by using standard compliant accessories. So people actually use third-party accessories because of the problem. Now basically don't need to. The other things that I read on their article is actually interesting, with some potential new functionalities. Like, for example, the USB standard is mature since the original Switch was released, enabling features like high-speed data transfer, 4K display output, and even connecting an external GPU. I'm not saying it's going to be on the Switch 2, but some interesting thoughts. Maybe some of them we'll find on the Switch 2. We need to wait and see. Also read things regarding fast charging, that we might see it on the Nintendo Switch 2. This is great, similar to mobile phones. You want to play handheld without being connected, just want to have fun lying on the couch. You want to be able to just quickly charge your Nintendo Switch 2. Hopefully this will be the case in this version. Now, one thing I know that people care about a lot is backwards compatibility on the Nintendo Switch 2. This essentially means that the new console will be able to play games designed for the original Nintendo Switch. So based on what I've read so far, the Switch 2 is expected to have a cartridge slot that is compatible with the existing Nintendo Switch game cards. This means you can simply insert your old game cards into the new console and play them. Also, digital games purchased from the Nintendo eShop on your current Switch will also be playable on the Switch 2. So you are likely to be able to re-download them from your Nintendo account and play them on the new console. It also helps with just smoother transitions. You don't need to do anything, you can just play your previous games straight away. It also gives a better value for developers, so it allows developers to reach a wider audience with their existing games, as they will be playable on both the old and new hardware, and also they don't need to maybe spend time in order to modify their games to work on the new console, which also take time and effort. However, again, this is official from Nintendo. It says certain Nintendo Switch games may not be supported on or fully compatible with Nintendo Switch 2. Details will be shared on the Nintendo website at a later date. So it's important to know that as well. Now, it works, of course, the other way. Maybe some games that were designed for the Switch 2 to take advantage of both the power and functionality might not work on the original Switch as well. We can expect that to see as well. But we can also look at the bright side with some potential enhancement for games, like we see in the transition from the PlayStation 5 to the PlayStation 5 Pro. So some games can receive graphical or performance enhancements when they played on the more powerful Switch 2 hardware. So in general, it can improve resolution, frame rates, and graphical effects as well. That's going to be really interesting to see. But the one thing about compatibility that actually reading on the web, that people are actually asking if the new Switch 2 will be compatible with the previous Joy-Cons. I doubt that. Different connector, different size. Why should we even consider as something that is supported? See, I don't think it could be an option. Maybe an adapter, but come on, who's going to do that? Anyway, some people mentioned that we don't have an answer for that just yet, but I don't think it could be the case. Now, as you know, Nintendo hasn't released all the exact information with specifications, but many people also ask about storage, if it's going to be faster, how much we're going to have, what are the options. The original Switch supports micro SD-C and micro SDXC UHS 1 cards up to 2 terabytes. And the Switch 2 is rumored again to support micro SD Express cards, which can offer potentially much faster read speeds and larger capacities on the Nintendo Switch, actually potentially up to 128 terabytes. And also regarding RAM, it's also rumored to have 12 gigabytes of RAM and 250 gigabytes of built-in UFS 3.1 storage, but these are just rumored. We need to wait and see for the final specification to be sure. Other than that, a 3.5 millimeters headphone jack to connect headphones. The card location, by the way, might be tucked underneath the Switch 2 kickstand, and this should follow probably the same design as the original Switch. And eventually you should expect to know much more and have all the details, at least most of the details, be some that we'll know even later on the Switch 2 Direct scheduled for April 2nd, 2025. There's also going to be post April 2nd, starting from April 4th, 2025, experience events where people can actually try the Nintendo Switch 2 themselves in North America, Europe, Oceania, and Asia. Anyway, even before April 2nd, already things kind of shown, and this is, for example, a manufacturer for accessories. You can actually see the Nintendo Switch 2, a few accessories there, and of course the Switch 2 as well. So we're probably going to find a few videos on them, of those online. So make sure to check it out, especially on X. It actually, and I edited later in the video, show me actually how the dock actually looks like from different angles, which I can actually see it here. So it's very interesting to see these things, probably reveal a bit more information that we haven't seen on the teaser trailer for the Switch 2. So you can see it here. And that's it. Thanks for watching, everybody.